Good evening, welcome to Central News for Tuesday the 18th of February. I'm Hilary Entwistle. The Amazing City Race, Get to Know Your Place in an Amazing Race, is an orientation-like game being run in Tauranga to encourage people to see the sights of the city. Councillor Catherine Stewart says the proceeds of the race will go towards swimming scholarships for people with barriers that prevent them from learning how to swim.
This event is about participation, it's about having fun, it's about walking around the CBD, it's about discovering our CBD and city.
New Zealand First Leader Winston Peters is throwing his weight behind calls for complete removal of the arena, claiming anything less portrays New Zealand as a maritime pushover to the world. Parts of the wreck have been removed with a bow section cut to 1 metre below the high tide, while the sunken aft section remains underwater on the reef. Winston is adamant the arena needs to be completely removed. He says it is unacceptable for the owners and insurers to attempt to leave the broken up wreck in an environmentally benign state. The handing over of Tauranga's Route K to the New Zealand Transport Agency was agreed to in principle yesterday by Tauranga City Council. Subject to statutory approvals, the city's toll road, Route K, will become a state highway from July 2015. The decision comes after 3 years of negotiations with the New Zealand Transport Agency over the toll road's future. Route K has current debt of around $63 million, which will remain with Tauranga City Council. The toll revenue lost from July 2015 will be compensated through the NZTA paying TCC a monthly set payment for 20 years. Raglan Coast Guard will be running their popular Bar Crossing Education Day next month with the support of Waikato Regional Council's Harbour Masters Office. The course is being held at the Raglan Bowling Club, on the corner of Wallace and James Streets on Sunday 16th of March from 8:30 a.m. Regional Council's Raglan Harbour Master Kim McKenzie says there were 2 incidents on the Raglan Bar last month, which demonstrated how even the most prudent boaties can get caught out carrying out this high-risk activity. Now for the region's marine forecast, the Waikato west coast tomorrow morning there is a southeast, easing to 15 knots, changing to a northeast by Friday. High tide in Raglan will be at 1:40 in the afternoon. Bay of Plenty east coast, easterly 15 knots, but 10 knots east of Motuhora Island, becoming northeast 15 knots everywhere in the afternoon. Then easterly 20 knots, but 15 knots in the east late evening. Sea becoming moderate in the west late evening, mainly fine. Cloud increasing in the evening. High tide in Tauranga will be at 11:07 a.m. Just ahead, shaving your lid for a kid. Welcome to Central News on TV Central. Collectively, New Zealand children undergo a total of 100,000 procedures and treatments each year. The Child Cancer Foundation supports these children and their families through this difficult time. March is their appeal month.
Right, we've got some pretty exciting fun times. We're having our annual street collection appeal, which we have lots of volunteers coming along to help us with. We also have our annual Mount Beach Bald, where we have people shaving their lid for a brave kid right here on Mount Maunganui Main Beach. It's great.
So how can we, the general public, help you out?
Well, the obvious one is shave your lid for a brave kid, but that's not for everybody. So for those who don't want to shave their lid for a brave kid, do a Google on Mount Beach Bald and make a donation to someone else who's brave enough to, or come along the day and help out.
The foundation doesn't get any funding from the government. How much do you rely on this appeal month?
Yeah, our appeal month is a huge part of our annual fundraising. We have events right throughout the year, but this is our big annual appeal month. We have our street appeal, we have our Mount Beach Bald, and all around the country we have lots of other events. It's really important that we raise funds for helping the children and their families.
What does the money raised go towards?
Oh gosh, every child and family's journey is different. We do have our beads of courage, which the children love, and that actually talks about their journey because every bead means a different treatment and procedure. So we have those, and we provide meal vouchers, we provide events to get families together so that they can actually be with one another. There's a myriad of things that we do because everyone's different.
How much have you raised in the past?
Right, well specifically the Mount Beachbald has been a hugely successful event for this area. The inaugural one 3 events ago. We had Mark Cairns and Dame Susan Devoy as celebrity shavees. Mark Cairns raised over $60,000. Susan Devoy, she raised over $20,000, fantastic, and the whole event raised almost $110,000. So that was a fantastic boost for Child Cancer Foundation in the region. The following year we had Lane Jager, CEO from Zespri, and he did a fantastic job, raised over $20,000, and the entire event raised approximately $50,000. So this is all money that's going to be helping all our children and families.
If you would like to help out, visit childcancer.org.nz. Find out how to volunteer or to donate to those shaving their lid for a kid. The Avantidrome Rev Cycle Festival offers something for everyone, with categories ranging from elite riders through to children. Anne-Marie spoke with U Leisure Manager Kevin Andres earlier this week to find out how everyone can ride the roads of champions.
That's right, yeah, people take part for a lot of different reasons. It's the best age group racing in New Zealand. There's those that just want to challenge themselves over the Rev 100 course. We've got something for people who are new to cycling, so a 55k event or an 18-kilometre event. It's not too long, you're not all day on the bike. And we have a kids category, which is a really neat way to introduce kids to a major event in a safe environment.
The Rev 100, it's your most popular category. Why do you think that is?
That's right, yeah, it's the marquee event, I guess. It's where we get the most of the riders. For those who are listening, perhaps don't know much about cycling, you think, wow, 100 k's. It is a long way, but when you do a bit of training, it's a good challenging number to achieve. People come back year on year because they want to compare their times against what they've done in the past. They might want to race their mates, they might be riding in a group, a social group or whatever, and they want to take on their mates in a bigger environment. It's a nice loop, so it's around Waikato's best cycling roads. Undulating, rolling flats, so there's some good, interesting elements to the course. And of course it's well organised and it's very safe.
Speaking of safety, February is Bikewise month. What's your safety message to both cyclists and motorists?
Sure, I mean, as I was saying, you do need to train for cycling. It's pretty hard if you don't. So when you are out there, there's some key things you can do, of course, to keep yourself as safe as possible. Be seen is a good one, so wear bright clothing, wear a fluoro vest if you can, or at least very, very bright clothing. Don't ride in peak times would be another key message. Outside of those peak times is best. Keep well left, of course, and if you can, maybe cycle with some friends as a group. And to motorists, just be aware that there are riders on our roads, and probably will be more over the next few years as this region becomes more popular for cycling. Just be patient. You will get past the cyclist, and just give them enough width so you don't get too close to them.
What makes the Avantidrome Rev Cycle Festival so special?
It's a really neat atmosphere at the Rev. People love it. It's quite personal. It's very social. So you do your ride. You're riding with some good people. You finish your event. There's some neat things. We have ice cold drinks for people. We've face flannels to give to freshen them up a little bit. We have neat music. We have good food. So there's a number of reasons. They just love it for the atmosphere.
Online entries for the Avantidrome Rev Cycle Festival are now open. For more information, check out their website, therev.co.nz. Coming up next, we look at the effects of binge drinking on a developing mind. Welcome back. There is a new online drinking game aimed at youth where somebody nominates a Facebook friend to quickly consume a bottle of alcohol and post a video on Facebook. Recently, a young Ashburton man took this to the extreme and sculled a bottle of absinthe. I spoke with a local advocate of alcohol action to see what his thoughts were on this behaviour.
Well, it's close to insanity. I mean, absinthe is very, very strong, probably 70%, and that probably equates to maybe 40 to 60, even more standard drinks. Standard drink is 10 grams of alcohol, about what you get in a can of beer, and anything above 20 standard drinks is a potentially lethal dose. So that person in the Neck Nominate Challenge essentially took a deliberate overdose and risked dying. And there are, reported deaths from this practice.
Do you think that Neck Nominate is big in the Bay of Plenty? Have you heard of many alcohol poisoning cases due to it?
I think Neck Nominate is predominant around New Zealand, and I am aware of it in Tauranga. I don't know if it's really big. I'm not aware, personally or professionally, of any poisoning cases, but I mean, we've heard the nationwide feedback about the fact that that is happening, and people are likely to die, I think, if they continue that type of practice.
Obviously, we know that it's risky to drink that amount of alcohol in one go, but can you explain what happens actually inside our body?
Well, there's lots of things happening. First of all, alcohol is being absorbed in the stomach, and that takes a certain amount of time. It gets into the bloodstream and travels up to the brain, and at certain doses it makes people feel amiable and sociable, and then higher doses they start to stumble and slur their words and maybe get to do things they might not normally do and regret later. And at even higher doses it actually is an anaesthetic, so it actually shuts down breathing and brain function and can lead to coma and ultimately death if you drink enough.
How important is the liver?
For alcohol? Alcohol is metabolised mainly in the liver, also in the stomach and the brain, but yes, the liver needs to be functioning pretty well to be able to change alcohol into its metabolites and then get rid of it. And there's a lot of variation in people's livers as to how much enzymes they have, and that can create problems for some people. If you've got a lot of enzymes, then you'll be able to tolerate alcohol a lot, and actually young drinkers who are very tolerant and able to be the life of the party and stand up and keep on drinking are actually often destined for alcohol dependence.
And why is that?
Because they're exposing their brain over and over again to alcohol. Their brain is enjoying it and liking it, and our drinking patterns are set up in adolescence, and then alcohol starts to change the brain to where it feels like it needs it, and some people actually aren't able to stop drinking once they start. So that sort of high tolerance pattern as a young person is really, really worrying. But the trouble is they get reinforced for it because you're a really good drinker, you're lots of fun. It's another reinforcement, so it's quite dangerous for them, really.
If you're worried about your own drinking or anyone else's, you can call the Alcohol Drug Helpline on 0800 787 797. Set up in 2008 by the Hamilton-based Perry Foundation, the Perry Outdoor Education Trust assists low decile secondary schools with the delivery of outdoor education experiences to students who may otherwise miss out. Manager of Poet, Karen Singers, joined Anne-Marie in studio last week.
Karen, welcome to Central News. Tell me about Poet. You assist low decile schools with outdoor education programs, but it's not just financial support, is it?
No, it's not. And I suppose just for your viewers, I don't know if Poet, if they know that is Perry Outdoor Education Trust, and it's commonly known as Poet because it is such a mouthful. We work in low decile secondary schools, and like you say, it's not all about funding. The core of what we do is to provide program coordinators to work with schools. This is a free service. I suppose a little bit like the old service that the Ministry of Education used to provide, which no longer does. So our Poet staff go into schools, look at what the school's running, how can we help, what do you need support with, what professional development do your staff need, how can we put it all together, how can we help you make it happen. And so that's sort of essentially what we're doing. We also provide some funding directly to students in low decile schools, and so we're able to keep the actual event costs low. So that's sort of essentially what we do. It's promoting and supporting outdoor education.
How many schools does Poet support?
We support directly 11 schools at the moment, so they do you want me to go through the schools? We've got a school up in Waitakere, 2 schools in South Auckland, and then coming into the Waikato, we are in Te Kauwhara College, Huntly, Ngaruawahia, Melville High School and Waihi College, and then over at Mount Maunganui College, down in Kawerau and Tarawera High School. And then we support Hornby High down in Christchurch, which is a school we've sort of stuck with since the earthquake. And
so why is outdoor education so important to students?
Outdoor education is a really great tool to build relationships, and relationships is what engages kids in learning. They've got to have good relationships with their peers, with their teachers, with their local community, and outdoor education and the challenges that can take place in the outdoors away from schools is a way that can develop that. And so it's a way to grow students and bring them together and connect them and really strengthen their local school community as well as their relationships to that wider community. So that's sort of where it's at. That's the reason why we do it, and ultimately it's to engage them in their learning at school.
It's extremely empowering. Karen, thank you so much for coming in.
No problem. Thank you for having us here today.
Coming up next, an international star joins me in the studio. If you have just joined us, welcome to Central News. This year, people all over the world are celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Beatles in America. Yesterday, 2 stars playing tribute shows joined me in the studio. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Hi.
Now, you guys have some interesting concerts coming up. Can you tell us about them, Tim?
Yeah, I can. The first one we're doing is at Waihi Beach Hotel on the 22nd of February. This is a Saturday coming up. Or depending on if you haven't seen the program.
And when's the next one?
The one after that's Wednesday, the 26th of February. There's 2 shows at Sky City in the function room, which is underneath the main casino part.
At Hamilton.
Hamilton, yep, that's right.
Now, what will you be doing? What is the aim of the show?
Well, I guess it's to give an old man a bit of work. Me? No, it's to do with, again, we've got this thing as the 50th anniversary of the Beatles doing various bits and bobs in America, etc., you know, so it's to do with that. And then also, because I'm over here on holiday, Tim got in touch with me, and because he does a Beatles show, Beatles tribute show, and he got in touch with me and said, well, might be good to do a Wings show, Paul McCartney Wings job, you know, so I agreed, foolishly. And so, yeah, we're going to do these 3 shows. I don't know, is there another one later on?
Oh, yeah, there's one on the 22nd of March later on at the Manuera Cosmopolitan Club, Cosy Club, yep.
Oh, wow. You'll be getting around the Waikato a bit, won't you?
Well, it is for, you know, a chap like me, my late stage in the game. No, it's great. I've enjoyed it. It's been really good, you know. I've met some great musicians and some nice people, you know, so, yeah.
Why did you come all the way over to New Zealand?
Oh, well, it's a bit of a sad story because my wife passed away just over a year ago, and my brother and sister live here. They've lived here for many, many years, you know, so they said, come over, have a break. And so, you know, I said, okay, and I came over in November last year, and it was just to be a general holiday. I always take my home saxophone with me, you know, to practice and stuff. And so that's when he got hold of me, you know. He heard about it via my brother-in-law, Joe Camel, and so once we made contact, this is where the idea came up, you know. And so I'm here till April, and then I go back to England again, you know.
Well, it sounds like a very good couple of concerts to go to. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Cheers. Thanks.
The Beatles and Wings tribute shows are on Wednesday the 26th of February at 2 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. at the Hamilton Function Centre. Right, let's look at our weather for Wednesday. Cloudy periods with a light, mainly northeast breeze for you, Hamilton. Your expected high is 27 and an overnight low of 16. Paeroa, the same for you, cloudy periods with a light, mainly northeast breeze. Your expected high is 25 and an overnight low of 17. Matamata, a little cooler with 23 and 19 as your low. The same for Te Awamutu, cloudy periods and light winds. Your expected high is 27 and an overnight low of 16. Tokoroa, the same for you, but your high is a little cooler with 25 and 16 for your low. Now for the Bay of Plenty, Tauranga, a warm drizzly day with easterlies, 24 and an overnight low of 18. Te Puke, drizzly patches that may turn to rain in the evening. Your expected high is 23 and an overnight low of 17. That is the news for today. Let us know what you think of our new format of Central News. We would love to hear your feedback. You can email us at news@tvcentral.co.nz or like us on Facebook. Join me again tomorrow night for more stories from the Waikato and the Bay of Plenty. I'm Hilary Entwistle. Have a lovely evening.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.